Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this dialogue, Simon, a dedicated English learner, seeks advice from his teacher on improving his English speaking fluency. Despite having a good grasp of grammar and vocabulary, Simon struggles with speaking naturally and without hesitation. The conversation explores various techniques, including thinking in English, using the shadowing method, creating speaking opportunities, and actively engaging with English content. The dialogue emphasizes practical, actionable strategies to overcome common challenges in achieving fluency.
Hello, teacher. I've been really focused on improving my English lately, but I feel like I've hit a plateau, especially with speaking fluently. I understand the grammar rules, and my vocabulary is growing, but when it comes to speaking, I still struggle to find the right words quickly. Can you share some quick and effective ways to improve my fluency?
Simon, it's excellent that you're so dedicated to improving your English. Fluency is more about how naturally and effortlessly you can express your thoughts in English than just knowing the rules. One of the quickest ways to enhance fluency is through immersive practice. But before we dive into specific techniques, let's define what fluency means to you. Are you aiming to speak without hesitation, or is your goal to sound more like a native speaker with natural intonation and expressions?
I'd say both are important to me. I want to be able to speak without those awkward pauses, and I also want to sound more natural, not robotic. Sometimes, I find myself translating from my native language into English, which slows me down and makes my speech less fluid. How can I stop translating in my head and start thinking directly in English?
That's a common challenge, Simon. To move away from translating, you need to immerse yourself in English to the point where you start thinking in the language naturally. One effective method is to internalize English by using it throughout your day, not just during study sessions. For example, try narrating your daily activities in English, even if it's just in your mind. This practice will help you get used to forming thoughts directly in English, which over time will reduce your reliance on translation.
That's a good idea. I sometimes try to think in English, but when I hit a word I don't know, I get stuck. Should I pause and look up the word, or is it better to keep going and use simpler language instead?
It's about striking a balance, Simon. When you're in a conversation, it's usually better to keep the flow going, even if it means using simpler language. The goal is to communicate your ideas smoothly. However, when you're practicing alone, it's beneficial to pause, look up the word, and understand its usage. This way, you're expanding your vocabulary without disrupting your fluency during real conversations. Over time, you'll find yourself using more complex vocabulary naturally.
I see, so fluency is about communication first, and expanding vocabulary can come with practice. I've also heard about shadowing as a technique to improve fluency. Have you used it before, and do you think it's effective?
Yes, shadowing is a powerful technique. It involves listening to a native speaker and trying to mimic their speech in real time. This helps improve both your fluency and pronunciation by forcing you to think and speak quickly, mirroring the natural rhythm and intonation of English. Start with materials that are at your level or slightly above, and then gradually move on to faster, more complex content as you improve. The key is consistency. Even a few minutes of shadowing each day can make a significant difference over time.
I've tried shadowing a bit, but I find it difficult to keep up with faster speakers, especially when they use colloquial expressions or slang. Should I slow down the audio, or is it better to challenge myself with the original speed?
It's perfectly fine to start with slower speeds, Simon. The goal at first is to build your confidence and get comfortable with the process. As you improve, gradually increase the speed to match the original pace. Repetition is also crucial. Repeating the same material until you can keep up will help reinforce language patterns in your mind. Over time, you'll find it easier to understand and use those colloquial expressions and slang naturally.
That sounds like a good approach. I sometimes worry that I don't get enough speaking practice in my daily life. I don't always have someone to talk to in English, and it feels like my progress is slower because of that.
It's understandable, Simon. Creating opportunities to practice speaking is essential, even if you don't have a language partner available all the time. Consider joining online language exchange platforms where you can connect with native speakers or other learners. You could also practice speaking English in front of a mirror or recording yourself, then listening back to identify areas for improvement. The key is to make speaking a part of your daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. The more you practice, the more natural it will become.
I'll definitely look into that. I've also noticed that when I'm nervous, especially in front of native speakers, I tend to stutter or lose my train of thought. How can I overcome that nervousness and speak more confidently?
Nervousness is something many learners face, Simon, but it's important to remember that making mistakes is part of the learning process. Focus on the content of what you're saying rather than the fear of making errors. Native speakers are usually patient and understanding, especially when they know you're learning. To build confidence, start by practicing in low-pressure environments, like with a close friend or alone, and gradually expose yourself to more challenging situations. Visualization techniques, where you imagine a successful conversation, can also help reduce anxiety. Over time, your confidence will grow as you become more familiar with speaking English.
I'll try those techniques. I've also been watching a lot of English TV shows and listening to podcasts, which has been helpful, but sometimes I feel like I'm just passively consuming the content. How can I make this more active so that it actually improves my speaking fluency?
That's a great observation, Simon. To make your listening practice more active, try pausing the content and repeating key phrases or summarizing what you just heard in your own words. You can also ask yourself questions about the content or predict what will happen next. Engaging with the material in this way forces you to actively process and use the language, which can significantly boost your fluency. Additionally, you could try explaining the content to someone else, or even just talking about it out loud as if you were giving a review. This will help solidify your understanding and make it easier to recall when speaking.
I like that idea of explaining what I've watched or heard. It sounds like it would help me think in English more naturally. Do you have any other tips for integrating English more into my daily life?
Certainly, Simon. One effective strategy is to set specific, measurable goals for your English practice. For example, aim to learn 5 new phrases each week, or commit to speaking for 10 minutes every day. Regularly reviewing what you've learned is also crucial. This reinforces the language in your memory and makes it easier to use in conversation. Additionally, try to incorporate English into your hobbies. If you like cooking, follow English recipes. If you enjoy reading, choose English books or articles. The idea is to make English a natural part of your daily activities, so it becomes second nature to you.
I see, so the key is consistency and making English a part of my life, not just something I study. I've heard that interacting with native speakers is the best way to improve fluency, but I'm worried about not being understood or making too many mistakes. How can I get past that fear?
That's a valid concern, Simon. It's important to remember that communication is the primary goal, not perfection. Native speakers are usually more focused on understanding your message than on the occasional mistake. To build your confidence, start with situations where you feel more comfortable, like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions. Over time, gradually push yourself into more complex interactions. The more you expose yourself to real-life conversations, the more you'll realize that most people are patient and supportive, especially when they see you're making an effort.
I'll keep that in mind. It's reassuring to know that native speakers are usually understanding. I'll try to focus more on getting my message across rather than stressing over every little mistake. Thank you for all these insights, teacher. They've really helped clarify my path to improving fluency.
You're very welcome, Simon. Remember, the journey to fluency is a gradual process, and it's important to be patient with yourself. Keep practicing consistently, stay curious, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're stepping stones to progress. You're on the right track, and with time, you'll see significant improvement. I'm here to support you every step of the way.
Thank you, teacher. I feel much more motivated now and have a clearer strategy to follow. I'll start implementing these techniques immediately and keep you updated on my progress.
I look forward to hearing about your progress, Simon. Keep up the great work, and most importantly, enjoy the learning process. Fluency will come with time and effort, and I have no doubt you'll achieve your goals.
Thanks again, teacher. I'll do my best and keep pushing forward.
That's the spirit, Simon. Keep going, and remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal.
The conversation concludes with a focus on consistency, confidence, and the importance of integrating English into daily life. The teacher reassures Simon that fluency is a gradual process, encouraging him to prioritize communication over perfection and to embrace mistakes as part of the learning journey. The dialogue highlights the value of persistence and active practice in becoming a fluent English speaker, providing Simon with a clear and motivating path forward.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.